Wanted to go over crypto and my thoughts on what's going on here with everything. So before I do so, make sure to come over to ztrades.net, check out our terms and conditions page, agree to it, as well as our disclaimers. If you agree, continue to watch. If you do not agree, do not watch. Stop right here. And if you agree, join the Discord. It's completely free on the website or in the description below in this video. What I want to see is supports, levels, trend lines, EMAs, things like that being respected by whatever it is, by the underlying, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum. So far, Ethereum's holding up. It's very low. Every halving cycle, let me go ahead and move this over a lot here. Move that over. And we're going to go pull up the rainbow at BitBo. Let's pull this up. See what we have going on here. See where we're at. Now, we've never not hit the yellow. This was the first halving. And for the last three halvings, we've hit the orange. We're in the green, kind of at the low part of the green area. Now, if we don't hit the yellow this time, I'm going to lose faith in the rainbow chart as well as the Bitcoin halvings. But keep in mind, guys, that the halving isn't an event itself. It goes up on the halving. That's not a thing. It happens. It can happen up to a year and a half later. This is a great example over here. This is whenever I had first gotten in this, which was back in right in 2016. I had gotten into crypto right over in here. Right, I didn't even know what the halving was. I'd never heard of it. No one taught me anything. And it took, let's see where we're at here. We are in, the halving was right in August of 2016. And Bitcoin didn't really top out till pretty much almost January of 2018. It was December. And I remember being in work when we had that. It was a fast spike. We were slowly going up, and it just wicked right up to 20K very aggressively. And that was the top. It was a blow off top. So how long is that? That's a year, and let's just say it's to January, because it was like maybe a week away from January 1st of 2018. We'll just say it's there, just so I can do the math easier in my head here. So that would be from August 2016. That's a year. August, that's almost a year and a half after it saw its peak, right? So it's just under this year and 4 months. So we had a halving. The halving that we had was over here in April. It was April. Last time it was in May. It was April this time of 2024. We're not even a year after the halving. Now, this is kind of a brutal hold here. I really like this halving before. We were weakening the dollar. We were injecting money into the economy. The dollar was weakening. Rates were plummeting. That's what Bitcoin likes the most. Not that Bank of America can now hold it, right? Not that, deregulation. Yeah, sure. What it really comes down to is the dollar. That's pretty much it. The dollar, rates, the Fed buying paper, weakening dollar. Bitcoin loves it. It eats it up. And that's what we had during COVID, where we went from basically the low. I don't need to look at it. I was watching it. 3,200 to almost 70,000. Went to 69,000, almost 70,000. That is a huge run. And then over in here, we had a low of, I can't remember what it was. It was in the hundreds, and we went up to 20,000. So we over 20x'd there, and we had another massive run there. Over here, 25,000 over in here. Yeah, 15,000. Okay, but that wasn't around the halving. By the time the spot ETF has kind of screwed everything up, that should have came later. Right? Where that would be good is if that was coming out in like May or this December, so Bitcoin could have a reason to run up all year. It may be like this halving over here, where it could be a year and 4 months before it sees its peak. It hasn't even been a year yet. I'm getting kind of tired of holding. I've taken half off. I have my initial investment back. I have profit back. That's off Bitcoin itself. Solana is the next one I'm going to take my gains on. I called it at 47 and 51. I have it written in the Discord. I called Ethereum at 1600 and 1900 as well. Ethereum I am worried about because I'm not as green. I can't just sell half at this point and have my initial back. I want to get my initial investment back, just to be defensive here. So instead of aping in at the top like everybody else is doing, when you heard everyone talking about XRP who wanted to get into crypto because of that, you're like, well, this is probably a top here. So, but if Powell is going to change his mind and we're going to start cutting rates, and the liquidity is just low right now. I don't like that. I do not like that. It wasn't like before. When we had a trade war before, liquidity was higher. It is low right now. It's nothing like '09, but it's low. We want liquidity higher. We want money being injected into the economy. Powell's term isn't up till like early 2026, I think it is. If we can get him out, then this could run. By that point, it's too late. So we need things to shake and bake now. The only thing that would cause Powell to do that is if there was a gigantic market sell-off, right? You can't just leave rates high because people have jobs. Whoa, people have jobs. That's not good. So we're just going to leave rates higher until everyone's unemployed. It's like, that's not a good thing here. That's not a good way to look at this. So we'll see if Trump can get the price of energy down, which can take a while. There may be some pain with these trade wars in the first 6 months of his term, but I'd like him to get it out of the way, and I'd like the Fed to start cutting. I hate saying this, I really do, but we may not see a top until over in here. If Bitcoin's going to hit the yellow or the orange, it may not be until December of 2025. I hate that. I really hate that. Really hate that. But that's one of the scenarios. The other scenario is, in where we just kind of stay flat and we dip down to the 80s and back to 100, then dip down to the 80s, back to the 100, slowly inch up, and right around when Powell's about to be out, or when they start cutting, they in December they get bullish again, like they did in December 2023, and we ran into 2024 for elections. They're quick to cut and be very bullish leading up to elections, but after Trump got in, now they're like, whoa, never mind, hold on, and I find that funny. Powell doesn't like Trump, but it doesn't matter who's in. They're going to do that. They'll play the same game leading up to elections. But that could be a scenario. We run flat and we blast if it has not found its top, and we blast in December, right? And that could be a really good thing if we have someone that's just like, we're going to rates back to just above where COVID was, right? We're going to bring the Fed rate to 3.5, 2.5. We're going to bring the Fed rate to 2 to 2.5. That's insane. 2 to 2.25, something like that. Liquidity increases, injecting liquidity into the economy. That would cause this to go parabolic. Or the other scenario is we evaporate and we go down to like 60K, 50K again or something like that. And there's a massive market sell-off because of the QE unwinding, because the yield curve is uninverting and it has a 95% success rate. Someone argued with me because when I looked at it, it was 100%. There's always been a recession. There's something I'm not seeing going way back, maybe in the 60s or something, 60s or 70s. So that could be a separate video I could talk about with the yield curve uninverting. So, yeah. We usually always have a crash. We could dip down really aggressively, and then Powell, because Powell will do it. If everything starts collapsing and dropping really hard, industries are starting to evaporate, jobs are vanishing, he will step in and the Fed will step in and be like, all right, all those rate cuts that we were planning like out to late 2026, we're going to do them in the next 3 quarters or the next 3 Fed meetings. And just start cutting really aggressively, maybe even an emergency Fed meeting. right? And then everybody would be focusing on the Fed. Start cutting. Inflation would drop because growth would come to a halt, and then they could do everything that they wanted to do, spread out over those from late 2026 into like maybe 2 Fed meetings, right? So Bitcoin would go down lower before going higher. Those are the 2 scenarios. Third scenario is, and that we go up. I really do not think that we're topped. If the market's going to tank and evaporate because of the yield curve uninverting, everything that's been kicking the can up the hill over till now, over the years, then I don't know. We'll see. It'd be if we don't see the yellow or the orange, if we don't see 170, 180 or something like that, then I'm not going to trust the rainbow chart anymore. The halving cycle still worked. Everyone's claiming everything was a dud. Yeah, you guys got in late. No one wanted to look at this in 2023. I called Beto at $14, right? I called iBid at 24. I called FBTC at 45. Those have more than doubled. I called Bitcoin at 25, 32, the 40s. You're well over 100%. Solana at 47, which is my biggest holding next to Bitcoin. Not now, no. Now Solana's my biggest holding. So everybody had plenty of time, if you understood the halving cycle, to make your bread, which I did. Let's take a look at Solana. Everyone's claiming everywhere that it didn't work. It worked. It definitely worked. So where was I calling Solana? I should have been getting in at 8, 7. It's all 780. Anyways, I got in, where was this? Right over in here. I got in Solana right there. I have it written in the Discord. So let me see if I can pull that up. Let's pull this up where I called it. You want to buy a year prior. So there's crypto investing. Let's go all the way to the top. But Solana as of now is still respecting the 20 EMA here on the weekly. And it still looks fine. That is a 1, 2, 3 reversal candlestick pattern to the downside. We could potentially go back up. Let's take a look at this. Called Ethereum. 1900. Right? We saw 4800. We're at 2200 right now. Green. Litecoin. Took forever to get green on that. It had its halving. Here I am talking about the Bitcoin halving. September 30th of 2023. Yes, I'm tooting my own horn, but I'm explaining why you don't FOMO in at the top. And it annoys me that the people that FOMO'd in at the top, right? If you didn't know about it, you have an excuse. But if you knew about it and then you're waiting till it's toppy, then getting in, you're going to get cooked. You're going to get cooked. What if this is actually the top? You're cooked. Right? It's very easy. Inverse what you're doing. You buy when it's low. No, not during the middle of the halving cycle. I'm talking about in 2027. That's when you'd buy. And if you missed it, suck it up. Get angry. Channel that anger to focusing and writing it down and thinking about it when you're going to get in 2027. Look for a giant collapse on crypto, that is. Ethereum, 1600. ADA called it at 23. We saw 109. SEI, that one I'm already out of, 14 to over $1. Would you look at that? Solana, $53. Right there. In November of 2023, which was right down there. Let's take a look at that chart, right? Right there. Right over in here. That's where I got in it. Well, I got in at 47, and I didn't post it. It had moved quick, and then I finally posted it. This is a 1, 2, 3 candlestick pattern. We see my plan to exit this. I should have sold half right there. I've sold some on, one of my other brokers. Not a lot, but I'd like to see this blast back up. 240, I'm taking half. I'm out half. Right? Beautiful cup and handle, almost a cup and handle pattern. Pretty much a cup and handle pattern. Nice pennant almost flag forming right here with an explosion. Beautiful. So my dollar cost average is not 51 though. My dollar cost average is around 120. So we're at 200 as of now. I don't know if this is live or not because it's the weekend. I don't think it does that. Last I checked, we were 196. But we blast up. I'd love to see this little volume gap up here, 227, something like that. I'm going to go ahead and take half out. At that point, I've got whopping profit, and as well as my initial investment back. So at that point, if this is all a fluke and it doesn't work out, I still made bread. I still got my money back. I'll be bag holding some Ethereum, but that Ethereum is pretty much free with everything else. Let's take a look at Ethereum again. Solana is respecting the TA. Ethereum, we bounced right off that bottom trend line right there. Right? We're holding anchored VWAP. I'd like to see us back up in here 3,700. And if we go over to a monthly here, let's take a look at this. Doesn't look bad to me, as long as we don't break out of that. I'd like to see us push up out of this. We could go nuts. That's a linear chart. You turn it on like this. I'd love to see us pop back up. It's going to get tighter. Anywhere in the fours, that would be great again. I'd love to see that price, 4,800. If we see 4,800, I think I may go ahead and take a little bit off, maybe 25%. But I'd love to see 6,000 to 8,000 on Ethereum. That would be a great place for me to go ahead and wipe off half there and assess later. All this comes down to the Fed. That's what it really comes down to, is the Fed and the US dollar, which the US dollar is kind of freaking me out. It's unfortunate I can't pull up money sign DXY on here. Can I pull up the 10-year? I can. That doesn't look good. I don't like that. I do like that reversal candle there. That's a reversal candle, but I would like that placed higher, kind of floating, right? Not below that body there, for that to be a clean start to a reversal. Now we're bouncing off this right here. I'd love this thing to collapse, just absolutely collapse out, which it doesn't look like it wants to here. It's kind of holding flat. Are these auto fibs going to be correct? Yeah, somewhat. But it'd be nice to see this thing crash all the way back down, like even to right here. I'd be happy with that on the 10-year here. I'd be really happy with that. Look at that in COVID. And this is, as this was collapsing, this was right in the middle of the last Bitcoin halving, which is why it was going absolutely bonkers. The rest of the altcoins, you guys got to keep in mind, SHIB, Doge, those are built on top of Ethereum. If Ethereum isn't running, they're not going to run. If Ethereum's running, they're going to run. If Ethereum sees past this all-time high, it'll go nuts. So it's kind of odd to me that this would be the top. All right. Oh, we can't go back to the prior. Well, we were basically double topped on where we were last time on the halving cycle on Ethereum's top, which was around 4,800. So, and it didn't really exceed it. We should exceed it every time. And if that's the case, then this will be the first time ever. And it's been expected to go. Usually when things are expected to happen, they don't, right? Not the case. Yeah, in equities, sure. But Bitcoin, it did go on the halving. Altcoins, they somewhat went. Ethereum has not gone. Solana, are you kidding me? It's plenty of profit if you got in early. Buying options on anything crypto related over the next year, wasted time in my opinion. Not going to do it, especially on miners that are diluting. I'm going to sell calls on miners on the equity I have and write way out of the money puts on Mara, which is the best one. Mara is the most sensitive. It's still holding up here. Let's take a look at this. I don't like that right there at all. We're below that body. I don't like that. We really need to bounce off that, like now. And pop back up into this area around 20 and hold there for a while. Let's turn the linear chart back off. Yeah, we need, I'd love us to be around 33 bucks. That would just be a fantastic area to take profit, even 50. Will that happen? Have they diluted too much? They should have been diluting over in here rather than at when Bitcoin, because they're diluting and they're buying Bitcoin when it's at 100. It's like, come on. Why didn't you do that when Bitcoin was 25K? You know, MicroStrategy as well as Mara. The really good short to come up. If Bitcoin tops, this looks like this could peel over and drop back to 175. But if Bitcoin isn't finished and MicroStrategy can see 500 or higher, I'm going to start building short positions. on this. This is holding the 20. The tops look horrible. The bottoms, it's bouncing. We have that gap that has not been filled to 280. But if this thing sees 500 or above again, I'm going to start building a short position. Actually, if you look at this, just doing some TA real quickly here. Let me play with this a little bit. Let me play with this like that. I want to just draw a little bit here and see what I'm looking at. Yeah, that's not fitting properly. This isn't working out right. Yeah, that's not really what I'm looking for here on the linear chart. I'm kind of just drawing, seeing what I can come up with. That looks kind of sloppy. You want this to touch multiple times. It's only touched twice, and you can edit anything to touch twice. So that big wick up there kind of messed things up. Yeah, we would want this to bounce out of here. So it's the weekly, almost closed an inverted hammer. That's not good enough for me. We need to bounce out of this. I'd love to see us in the 4s again, but MSTR is going to be one of the best shorts when this cycle's over. Post 2026 is when I'd probably go short on this. So Bitcoin, last but not least. Have we covered this yet? I have not pulled it up. It looks totally fine. Completely healthy. Keep in mind, alts lag. Alt season comes way after Bitcoin has been running for a while. And usually, sometimes when Bitcoin starts to decline and it's already seen its top, then alts have their day where they start to pump. So as of now, Bitcoin looks totally fine. As of now, this looks totally healthy and totally fine to me. Let's take a look at a monthly. Monthly isn't telling me too much. We need to see this thing suck up and go out. I thought we were going to pull back there, and we had that bull candle right there. Tells me bulls are still here. Let's take a look at the daily. Daily is telling me nothing. We're resting kind of on this. Let me get rid of these trends. Somewhat of that volume shelf right there. We could pop right back up out of that, come up to 109 again. We'll see. We'll see. That played out right there somewhat. That's where we hit all-time highs. But yeah, I'd love to see us. I'd love to see this turn around and bounce off that, off this giant volume shelf. So as of now, Bitcoin looks okay. Scenario number 1, we run flat, trade wars in, things pump up. As long as Bitcoin's above like 105 to, I'd like to see it above 110, and then have a new zone between like 116 and 110. That 109, that would be great, and be in there. And then we're still safe. But this is the first. Keep in mind, this is the first time ever that Bitcoin itself has experienced quantitative tightening. Other than 2018, that was very short. We had some rate hikes. They were very minimal in 2018, very minimal. But other than that, we have not had heavy QE or low liquidity since 2008. It's been pedal to the metal, right? Bitcoin came out in 2009. What happened at the same time as stimulus? Was it going parabolic? Not really. It was like a nano cent at the time. People were buying it up, and there was a lot of supply left to be mined. You could mine it on a personal PC. It wasn't really too much of a thing or affected by anything too much. Then the halving came, went nuts. But, it started right when we had a stimulus go out, right after 2008. So, yeah, the other stimulus we had was COVID, right over in there. I'd love to see one happen again, but, 2008 was a big, horrible event that triggered that. COVID was a big, horrible event that triggered that. So if something like that's going to happen, let's say with a million things, I'm not going to go over all of them, that could come into play here, and we drop. This is scenario number 1. Then heavy QE comes in. There's your Q, because we're still in that safe zone to buy Bitcoin until December of 2025. After that, that's a wrap for me. And we could rip back up very aggressively. Scenario number 2, we run flat. We go down. We chop around, and we slightly go up. Let's say to 155 or 160 by the end of the year. I'd like this to be more quick to get it over with and get my bread out, right? Those are the two scenarios I see. I still see us going up. Why? Because we've never, not even seen the yellow. We've always even seen the yellow. We even saw the red in that halving. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Each halving is getting smaller. This one will be smaller as well. That's why you got to buy gigantic flushes. So I'm keeping my eye on this. I'm getting defensive. I've taken half my profits back on Bitcoin. I'd like my bread back on Ethereum. Solana, if I take half there of what I have a lot. I'll have some decent I'll have my money back for sure, because I've already sold some in the 240s. I sold about 15-20%, something like that. So if I sell it, anywhere above 200, I'm good at that point. From there, fingers crossed. Alts get smoked the most. Bitcoin's the safest. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Miners, not looking too hot overall. Not looking hot. They've diluted a lot because they're now following MicroStrategy, diluting to buy Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin's running flat and going bearish. So let's see what happens. I rambled a lot on here, but I wanted to kind of explain everything in my thoughts so you guys can kind of get in my head and look through this through my eyes. So if you guys like this info, make sure to like and comment below.